What's up? Welcome back to another episode of I was about to say the Rainmaker Saga because I'm used to doing my vlogs. Welcome back to another episode of the Powerful Fitness Podcast. This is episode number four, I think. Four, something like that. So we rolling, we still going, They say if you make it past four, you're gonna make $1 million. So there we have it. The money's coming in. Today I got with me one of my teammates at Carpe Momentum Jiu-Jitsu, Xominique Davis. He was born in Florida. His hometown is Jackson, Missouri. He's been a Marine since 2016, so don't play with your boy because, he's about that bang, bang, pop, pop life. And he's been doing jiu-jitsu for 2 years now. He recently did, was that your first tournament, the last one you did, or have you done a few now?
That was actually my third.
Okay, so he's done a couple of jiu-jitsu tournaments, and he did really good his last one. I think he got gold in gi and no gi.
Yeah, I got double gold that time.
Sweet. All right, so let's just go ahead and kind of tell the viewers, what your life's been like, kind of a brief story of, where you were born, what it was like as a kid growing up in, I guess, Jackson, and then what led you to being a Marine and stuff like that.
Okay. To keep it brief, I grew up in Florida, born in Marianna, Florida. All my immediate family on my father's side's from there. And so I have a lot of cousins, particularly males, and we always grew up beating each other up, playing around, wrestling, WWE style, all that. And I'd say when I was anywhere from 10 to 13, me and my older sister moved back up to Missouri with my mom, and I started attending Jackson schools. Started off in junior high, and I got into football, track, weightlifting, started taking my athletics very seriously from there. And I had a goal of mine. It was to make it to the NFL. So I really dedicated myself to football.
Really?
And, after senior year, things didn't go the way I planned. I emailed like over 500 colleges, and they all told me the same thing. Like, hey, your skill set's amazing. You're just too small.
Right.
They're just like, you're 5'8", 140 pounds. Like, you'll get killed. And
Right.
we can't have that on our conscience. And so I was just like, well, dang, if I can't play ball, I can't really afford to go to school. Why not serve? Be able to go to school that way, but didn't do it to go to school. I was just like, hey, ISIS was the biggest thing going on around 2015.
Right.
So I was just like, hey, go and serve and fight bad guys.
Right.
And joined, became a Marine, and learned how to really shoot, how to apply defensive, offensive tactics when it comes to weaponry and stuff like that, hand-to-hand combat and stuff like that. And I was like, great, this is awesome. But what got me into jiu-jitsu is my first team leader. He was, I'd say, about 6'4", anywhere from 195 to 205.
Oh, wow.
Pretty decent sized guy.
Yeah.
And, us first year in the fleet, they always called us boots. They're just like, hey, fresh meat, freshman. And so I was in my squad leader's room. We were like filling out our, we call them kill cards, or personal information, religion, stuff like that. Pretty much the stuff that goes on your dog tags. And he walks in the room. He's just like, oh, what are you doing, Davis? And I was just like, oh, I'm just filling this stuff out. And he boom, Spartan kicks me out of the chair.
What?
He's straight.
What?
He just walks in, boom, kicks me out of the chair. And I'm like, what the hell? And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let that slide. And I'm not.
What? Why did he do it? To be funny or just like what? I don't
all sorts of stuff happened to the military. Like if you watched Saving Private Ryan, Full Metal Jacket, any kind of military movie like that.
So they just
how they pick on the new people and stuff like that. That's an actual thing. And
you can't do nothing back because he's a higher rank.
They say you can't, but it's like, if you're no pushover, it's like, hey, it's not in me to turn the other cheek like that. Like
right.
If somebody sticks me, I'm coming after you. Like that's just how it is.
Right.
And but I was like, okay, let me play my cards smart. Where at this point you're government property technically, so it's like, all right.
Yeah.
So let me play it smart, because my squad leader and another squad leader were in there, so they were witnesses. And they didn't really say anything. So I'm just like, okay, so they're in on it too. And I was just like, look, I'm just trying to finish my stuff and I'll be out of here. And he was just like, oh, what are you going to do about it? Kicks me out again. So I get up, pick him up, slam him on the couch. And we're going at it. And I'm still, 140 pounds at this point. But I mean, I was super athletic back then.
Right.
So I was just like, I'll just maul him with my athleticism. And I woke up on the couch.
Wow. Wow.
I straight woke up on the couch.
What an asshole, man.
Yeah, they were just like, he was like, hey, you okay? And I was like, what happened? He was like, oh, you got choked out.
Jeez.
Straight put you to sleep. And I was like, what? He was just like, you want to keep going? I was like, sure. So I tackled him again back onto the bed, and he had me in a close guard, but I didn't think nothing of it. I was just like, okay,
Right.
he's a big dude, lanky dude. His legs are around me, and I'm like, all right, whatever. So I stand up with him, start slamming him on the mattress, and I was going to slam him on the floor. I woke up again. And I was
Wow.
and they're just like, he's like, that was called a triangle. I was like, okay, you got to show me how you're doing all this stuff. Like, I'm like, okay, all jokes aside, I'm not going to beat this guy.
Right.
Instead, I want to learn. What are you doing? You're just like, that's the first time I've ever actually had anybody ask me to teach them what I was doing. And from that day forward, he just kind of took me under his wing. And he was a blue belt at that time.
Okay.
Just a blue belt, but I could do nothing with him.
Of course.
Even if we were the same size, he would still mop the floor with me
of
because
course.
I was untrained, had no idea what I was doing, and he put no effort into it whatsoever.
Yeah, it's funny how people think that they can fight against a jiu-jitsu practitioner because they're strong or maybe because they're bigger, but it's like if they know quite a bit more than you when it comes to grappling, whether it be jiu-jitsu, wrestling, sambo, whatever, you're about to get manhandled because it's just all about positioning, and being steps ahead, and you can't do that if you don't really understand the positions on the ground. That's why I love jiu-jitsu. It's amazing how you can just control somebody by literally knowing the positions, and every centimeter you move is a new position. It's nuts.
Yeah.
So you did bodybuilding too, right?
Yes,
or was it powerlifting or?
I was doing powerlifting, and like right after I was done with football, I would still go into.
So
the
that
weight
was
room.
before you went into the Marines.
Yeah, that was before I went into the Marines. I was like, okay, I don't really have a good shot at getting in, but I would still go in, especially when I had like gym during normal hours of the day in school. I would just excuse myself from whatever activity was going on, and the coaches, they were perfectly fine with it. Like, yeah, you can go lift or whatever, and I would be in there bench pressing, hang clean, power clean, trying to do snatch. Anything that would just increase my explosiveness and then my overall just raw strength. And my upper body really wasn't that strong back then. It was all legs for running and track and football. So I was like, all right, my weakness is my upper body and like my height, because I played inside receiver and cornerback and stuff like that. So I was always on the inside of a formation, either cutting across the field where the linebackers and the safeties were, or cutting outside to where a bigger cornerback is waiting. So I was like, all right, I need to be able to take a hit, bounce off of people and stuff like that. So that's what I was trying to build myself up to. And
I never wanted to play football. When I was a kid, I played football, and I was like, what's the purpose of this? I'm like, so we literally just run into each other. I'm like, I don't want to run into anybody. That's not, no, I don't want to.
Ideal.
I don't want to do that. I like playing free safety because I just hang out in the back and I get to try to pop somebody as they, if they make it past everyone. But it's like, I don't want to be up and all that. And then one time we all was piled up and my hands got stepped on. I was like, oh, no, this is not fun. I'm like, oh, no. And it was so cold, too. So my hands were cold and they got stepped on. I was like, I don't want to do this, no. Well, and then plus I was scrawny. I'm like, this is for big guys. This ain't for me. So, yeah, that didn't last long. I knew football was not for me.
Yeah, I would say football is something you have to either grow up doing or be introduced to it at a young age and then come back to it when you're like 10, 12 or anything like that. Because I actually didn't start playing football seriously until I got to junior high. And so I'd say freshman year. I started seriously my freshman year right when, who was that? I think it was Coach Eckley at the time. He had just came to Missouri and took over as the head football coach. And so I was like, okay, great. I'm going to just, show what I can do and see like, hey, I'm not just a really fast, short guy. Like, I'm actually smart. I know what the game is. I know how to play. I know, situational awareness, stuff like that. And at the end of the day, football it's a big person's game. If you're anything less than 5'11", 180, you're going to get ragged off.
Yeah, for real.
And even guys that are 230, 6'2", 230, get ragdolled in the NFL by linemen all the time.
Yeah, you won't make it.
Like,
you won't make it. You're going to get hit one time, and that's going to be the end of you ever playing football and possibly walking. Like, those some big dudes running full speed. Like, nah, I'm cool, man. I'm cool.
I've gotten
I likes fighting.
I've gotten my helmet taken off quite a few times, mostly on the offensive side of the ball. And the first time ever, a running back planted me as he cut the corner, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to clear my guy, and I'm just going to shoot in for a low double. And his entire knee just went straight into the top of my helmet, knocked me clean over, did a backflip.
Dang.
Literally just steamrolled right through me. And, I got up. And I just started like crawling to the sideline. I thought it was our sideline, but it was the opposing team's sideline.
You think you ever got any concussions?
Definitely.
Oh my God.
Definitely. Our trainer told me to never forget these words: red truck fish. He's like, if you can't remember those words in that particular order by the next time that I come and check on you at halftime, you're not playing for the rest of the game. And I'm like, okay. And so I just sat there saying it over and over and over. And he's like, all right, what are the words? I'm like, red truck fish. And he's like, all right, get up and do some mobility drills. Make sure you.
That's a good test. Good. This dude must have a doctorate. That's all. Just remember 4 words and you can continue to play. Like, oh my God, that's not.
Like he's still one of their personal trainers over there at the school. He's very, very good at what he does.
Yeah.
And but yeah, he's just like, remember those words, red truck fish. He's like, if you mess it up once, you're done.
Oh, that's 3 words. Yeah, that's not very hard to remember. So,
but it's like if you
can't remember that, then yeah,
you ain't got no business playing.
Right.
That took me out of the entire first half of the game.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure we were about 2 minutes into the first half, so I was out for the whole first half of the game. And I think who was that? I think we played Marquette. So they were a really big power running team. And like their linemen and their running backs all look the same. Just big, athletic, strong dudes. And it's just like, oh, great, this is going to be fun or terrible. And the only thing that really saved us was we were more conditioned. We just ran them out until they were tired and just kept beating them to the ball and stuff like that.
Nice. So Marine Corps, what was that like?
Well, let's say if I had to do it again, I would do it again if I had to. But if I don't have to, I'm not going to go back. The only thing I miss about it were the friends that I made.
Right.
The long-lasting camaraderie and brotherhood.
Yeah.
Because there's since the time that I joined to now, we've lost a lot of peers just due to suicide and stuff like that, dealing with depression.
Oh, geez.
And it's just like, people bring whatever they're struggling with into the military with them, and then everything that we went through just added on top of that. And it's all going unchecked and unaddressed as more things pile on top. And that's where the whole statistic of 22 a day comes from.
See, I feel like if you have just thinking about it, outside of perspective, I would think that if you have a healthy mindset going into the Marine Corps, it would build you up and make you stronger. But if you already had kind of a struggle with depression, or other type of mental disorders, then it probably would make things worse.
Yeah, it'll catch up. Like if it's not obvious right when you join, the longer you stay in, the more it'll show, because the longer you stay in, the more responsibility that they give you. And just like, hey, you take your job seriously, but now the shoe's on the other foot. You're in charge of a bunch of 18 to 22 to 25-year-olds that, hey, we're in our prime, we're big and bad, we know everything. And if they mess up, it's on you. And so you've got a platoon of 30-plus dudes to look after, and they all look up to you to make all the sound decisions. And you can, tell them everything until you're blue in the face, and they'll still go out and do what they want to do at the end of the day. But that'll come back on you as their leader. Yeah,
that's some scary stuff, man. My MMA instructor, he's a Marine too, and he talks to me a little bit about what it's like, and I'm just like, that sounds terrible. That sounds like hell. Like, I would not. It sounds terrifying. Just straight up terrifying.
It can be. Like if you don't have the mindset of, especially for recruit training, if you don't have the mindset of, I'm doing this, come hell or high water, I'm going to make it to the other side, I'm going to make it out, I'm going to become a Marine, I'm going to be the best Marine that I can be. If you go into it with anything less than that mentally, it will break you. Right.
Let the fear take over. You done for.
We had people quitting on receiving night. So it's like we got on the plane, flew out to MCRD San Diego, and I kid you not, we get to the receiving barracks, and we were going to start the next day is when they take us to our platoons and meet our instructors. So we haven't even actually started training yet. We're just in the receiving company, and we had people quitting that night.
No way.
Yep. Quitting that night, and then there was people backing out at the airport. when we landed, like before we got on the plane, after we got off the plane.
I thought you couldn't
like,
do that. Once you was enlist, you're.
It was like it's like if you could afford to pay out to like buy out your contract, that's another option that apparently became a thing at some point. But it's mad expensive. It's like you have to be rich in order to do something like that. Like mommy and daddy got to be loaded.
Makes sense.
And for those that could afford to do so, it's like all right, I knew that guy was gonna quit.
Right.
Not a surprise, but then some other people where it's like, oh, that person quit, really? They seemed extremely motivated. I guess all that was fake. They'd have, big buff dude like, oh, I'm going to be a machine gunner and all this stuff. I can bench 450 and all this other stuff. And then as soon as a grown man gets in his face and is just like, boy, you ain't going to do nothing. I dare you. Swing. Hand you a knife and tell him, cut me. You're like, you bad? Come on. And just stare him down the whole time.
And they realize, I don't know any fighting strategic tactics.
It's brutal, especially for our instructors that come from gang-related backgrounds. Like we had a guy that would, he's like, oh, I'm Chirac blood and all this other stuff. And we had an instructor, sleeved out, mean-looking dude, burst into the squad bay and was just like, where the blood at? And he was like, huh? What? He was like, oh, he's talking about Jackson. He was like, where you at, boy? And he's like, get up. And he was like, throw that stupid shit up. He's like, throw it up again. He's like, see, I don't kill you right now. I was like, started throwing up his old set, and he was like, do it. He was like, do it if you're a gangster. He's like, yeah, cut me. He's like, what? I'm throwing my set in your face. What are you gonna do? You gangster? You real gangster? Now's your chance. I'm like, he said, sheesh.
Wow.
He was like, hey, yes, there's your chance. Go ahead. He's
like,
right.
oh, did I say blood? No, I meant when I get cut, I bleed.
Yeah.
He says his whole demeanor.
I've never seen so many dudes just get sunned.
Right.
Sure, like, because we outnumbered them like 1,000,000-1, but it's just like you would not think, you would not dare step to an instructor or a combat instructor.
They bowed it.
Absolutely, every single one of them, even if they come from a non-infantry related.
So you have an aura of fire around your halo. Like I can tell you've been to hell and back. Like,
oh yeah, and it's the ones to look out for was the ones that didn't like being loud, because Marines, especially instructors, they're loud. They like to, their job is to scream, yell at you, get you all flustered and whatnot to make you make mistakes, but then help you to think through that kind of pressure.
Right.
And then it was never really the ones that yelled at us that really got to us. It was always the silent ones. The ones that would walk up on you when you think nobody's there and be like, hey, you, what are you doing? You're just, oh. And they're just like,
like Michael Myers, man.
Man, yeah, but without the theme music. Just straight walk up on you out of nowhere. It's like, it's dark. We had what are called fire watch at night. So you've got 2 recruits up, one in the front, one in the back, or 3. One in the front, one at the front post, one at the back post, and then one roving in between the barracks, making sure everybody's asleep. And even with those 3 Marines or recruits posted, you'd still have one of them sneak in and get up behind somebody. Just be like, hey, you're like, where did this dude come from?
Just come and put their fingers in your back. You're dead.
Yes, yes, they'll do that. Or when I got to the fleet, our squad leaders, they would hold like a Sharpie. And they would walk up and, make sure if you're awake, they won't really mess with you. But if you were, sleeping on post or something like that, they'll take that Sharpie and they'll run it across your neck. And they won't say nothing. They won't say nothing to you. Dang. It'll be everyone else that sees it when you wake up and be like, oh, man, they got you.
Right.
And you'll be like, what? And you take a little field mirror and look at me like, oh, man. It's like, man, they killed me. They'll
Dang.
draw something on you or draw on your face.
Right, and they're supposed to be on guard.
Yep.
Dang.
Yep. And for the ones that just didn't have the patience, they'd wake you up in a very abrupt manner, kick you, or, literally get on top of you, get you in an RNC, and you wake up to being strangled, and they're just like, that's how that would happen.
Wow.
Or you wouldn't wake up at all.
You wouldn't wake up at all.
Yeah. It's just like,
shot right in the head. God dang.
Yeah, and some of them, they'd be like, it's like, I wouldn't waste ammunition on you. They'd be like, I wouldn't waste my time, firing around at you.
Right.
Like, you're not even worth that. I just set up a regular trap and snare for you.
What's a trap and snare?
Like an old bunny rabbit trap with a stick and a string or something like that. As soon as they run past it and it trips it, it'll like yank them up
Oh, okay.
Something like that. And it's like they're just sitting there dangling off of that
That's
rope.
funny.
It just like you'd be the type of individual to fall for a basic trick like that. And
Wow.
it's like, you know, what other techniques and stuff like that out there. And so we went through jungle warfare training and stuff like that, and people that literally do everything that the movie Rambo's about, like how you see him in the bush, in the river, camouflaging himself,
Coming up out of the water.
coming out the water, making booby traps out of sticks, making them pikes and stuff like that. We learned how to do all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
And we learned it at a very basic level. The more advanced stuff was like, you know, hey, how many of you can tell when there's someone else out here with you? And it's like, what do you mean? Others like, without hearing a voice or anything like that, how can you tell? It's like, okay, well, what do we know? Your baseline, your surrounding, what's normal about it, how to pick up what's abnormal about it. It's like, all right, you're in the woods. What's abnormal about being out in the woods? Okay, you have leaves, grass, mud, water, animals. But let's say you catch a hint of marble, menthol, anything like that, like a Marble Red or a Newport. If you know what a cigarette smells like and somebody lights a cigarette upwind from you and the wind carries that down to you and you smell that and it's like somebody's puffing a cigarette
Right.
not too far from here.
Right.
Or for those that like to dip, that have a can of Copenhagen or something like that, they take their trot. When they're done, they flick it on the ground or something like that. And it's like, hey,
Right.
if you get anywhere near it and you smell it, it's like somebody's been dipping. And if you know your guys, like then this comes with just time and experience. It's like if you know all your
You
guys,
see them dip on the ground, you pick it up.
I've seen
That's wintergreen.
I've seen guys do that. Like there's this trending video of this Marine walking along the catwalk and he like, takes his cover and throws it down. He gets on it and there's this worm. And he's just like, "What are you doing on my catwalk, you scumbag?" And he like slurps up this worm and just straight slurps it up. And it's just like, oh, and I'm
What
like,
the heck?
I'm like,
That's
oh
funny.
yeah. I've actually had guys in my squad do that stuff every day.
Wow.
Just find a cricket, be doing something stupid, and just like it's protein.
Right.
And I'm like, well, I mean, you ain't wrong, but at the same time, that's kind of nasty.
Better fry them mugs.
Well, it's like,
Fry 'em
well,
up.
if you fry it up, you have to light a
Them
fire to
chips.
do that. That's gonna alert whoever's out there.
True.
So it's like, oh, great. We really have to be resourceful and think.
Right.
You know, they taught us how to use, you know, just use our surroundings for everything, how to track, how to profile people and stuff like that, set up vehicle checkpoints. And I could write a whole book about the stuff that we learned and been through. Like, I'd never been physically useless in my life until we went up to Mount Fuji and stayed on that mountain. Or not Mount Fuji, but we went to Camp Fuji, and from there we went to Sumagohara, and then went on top of Mount Sekiyama and trained with the Japanese Ground Self-Defense Force.
Oh, this is in Japan?
Yes, this was in
Ooh.
Japan. And we trained with the Japanese Ground Self-Defense Force, and we went force on force. We were supposed to be trying to find each other on that mountain the whole time that we were out there. It was snowing. It was like a blizzard from it was like a blizzard from hell the entire time.
Nice.
And I've never operated in snow like that because when it snows up here, I stay inside.
Right.
And so there's like, no, we're out there.
Cold, man. Cold.
Brutally cold. Coldest thing I've ever felt. And so the whole time, people are carrying my gear as I'm just struggling to survive at this point. Like my teammates had to open all my MREs because I couldn't feel my hands. I kind of was like, look at me, I'm skin and bone. Like I couldn't feel anything. They're just like, look, if we don't do something with him, he's gonna die on us. And so I was the most useless I've ever been in my life for that whole op. And other grown men are having to spoon feed me my own food because I can't feed myself.
Wow.
And I was just like, you know, I will forever call those men my brothers because they didn't have to do that.
Right.
They chose to do that, and they even fed me from their own stuff.
Dang. That's tight.
Yeah, it's stuff like that is just like, you know, that's where bonds that are thicker than blood form. So, you know, shout out to Jordy, shout out to White and everybody that else fed me. Appreciate you. Still skinny to this day, but you know.
So you think you can handle the cold better after that experience?
Now, absolutely, because if I have to go through something like that, I'll bring my own gear, you know, gear that's updated, that works. and stuff that's not been passed down from the Army since 19 whatever.
Right.
It's like, hey, this Gore-Tex is supposed to keep you dry.
So what do you think about you know who Wim Hof is?
Wim Hof, I don't think I'm familiar.
They call him the Iceman. He does a lot of cold exposure, and he takes people hiking up mountains with only shoes and shorts on.
Absolutely not.
I'm talking, they'd be in knee-deep snow. They'll hike up to like the top of Mount Snezka or Snezna, something like that. He's hiked up Mount Everest in just shoes and shorts. And yeah, it's really mind blowing how these people hike these mountains, and he shows like through, you know, cold exposure, you actually can, you know, become more adapted to it the way, you know, our bodies are actually intended to. And, you know, he really, he has a certain breathing technique that he shows people, and that combined with cold exposure, he uses that for like just, you know, keeping your body healthy, you know, keeping your lymphatic system and your nervous system, you know, in check. And so I watch his videos all the time, and he's what really got me into ice baths. You know, I started taking ice baths for recovery, but after I started watching his videos, I realized this is actually going to help me, you know, live longer. This is going to help me, you know, be healthier, keep my system flushed, and also, you know, make me happier throughout the day because of the your hormones that it helps you regulate. By being in the cold, it helps regulate your hormones. And, you know, I'm not going to get into the science because y'all won't understand that. You know, I'm not going to speak them terms. I got to keep it hood for my viewers, but it's actually very scientific. We're not going to get into that. You know, you seen Pineapple Express?
Oh, yeah.
Where he's explaining the weed to me, he says it's actually very scientific. I'm not going to get into that. But yeah, that's my ice bath right over there. It's full of water right now. It's like 37 degrees. I do it every day. After we leave class, I come home and do like 3.5 to 5 minutes every day, and it really gives you an edge on mental toughness because it sucks, you know, and it takes a lot of like mental strength just to stay in there. It doesn't, like, a lot of people that get in there and jump right out, it's not that their body can't handle it, it's the mind, you know, because you're not going to like go into hypothermic shock after a couple minutes in an ice bath, unless you're like, maybe like if you have some health problems, I understand that, you know, people have a lot of health issues that can stop them from doing those type of things that shock the body. But someone like you can get in there 5 minutes, and no matter how you feel mentally, physically, you're A-okay. So it really is just, it helps me mentally. So what it does is it activates your what's the word, what's it called, adrenaline. So it tries to activate that because you feel like, oh, I'm going into shock, like your body wants to release adrenaline. So by you staying calm and doing that, you know, consistently, not just like every once a month type thing, like when you do it a couple of times a week, it just helps your body actually not release adrenaline when it's not necessary. So like when it comes to fight day for me, you can, you know how they say you get adrenaline dump, right? But like as you're fighting, so it will help you not actually release so much adrenaline when you're in that stressful situation. You just can regulate, you know, your whatever your body tries to release when you start to go into like, you know, fight or flight mode. So it really helps out a lot. Just helps you be able to stay calm, even with like the small things in life, like you're at the freaking grocery store and someone opens their car door and dings the side of your car. It's like, you know, and you want to just like, your eye starts twitching. You're about to fight somebody. You just can take a breath and like, okay, it's fine. It's just the door. You know?
I'm not even going to look at it.
It helps with a lot of stuff. It really does. I love doing it. And there's not a time I've taken an ice bath and regretted it afterwards. Every time I get out, I'm like, why did I skip this yesterday? You know, or why did I skip this twice last week? It helps a lot. It's crazy. And when you're really sore too, like I'm talking sore, you take that 5 minute ice bath, and for the next hour, it's like you can't feel nothing. for like a good hour. I mean, it helps longer than that, but for like an hour, like you really feel like it takes away all those nagging,
Like if you
the
sit
soreness.
down, you don't feel like, oh, I'm stuck. Like you can actually hop up and do whatever.
Man, you just feel more rejuvenated for real. I don't think I could train the way I do without taking ice baths. I mean, I would just feel more run down. It really helps out a lot. So that's why I appreciate a lot, and I try to get teammates to come over and try them, and a lot of them don't want to do it. I've been telling John to come and do it, and he's like, oh, one day I will.
Right.
I love seeing people's reactions, dude, because like, okay, I had this one student. He was his name's Drury. He was I think 15 when he did it, and he got in there and he did like 5 minutes and was. But then I get some grown adults in there and they get in there like, I'm like, breathe. They're like,
oh yeah.
Like they're being choked by Darth Vader or something. I'm like, breathe, don't hold your breath. So it's really cool watching people do it, But so you started jiu-jitsu about 2 years ago, and let's kind of talk about how you feel about jiu-jitsu, what it's done for your life, and all that good stuff.
So my first class, I walk in, and John was teaching Frank. It was just him and Frank at the time. I guess it was a private lesson. I'm not sure. If you ever met Frank.
I don't think I have.
Oh, my goodness. Big guy.
Is he the guy that's only been taking private lessons?
I think he started taking private lessons with John just because by far he is the biggest guy.
Names.
He is the biggest guy that I've seen.
Is he super tall?
Doors. Yes.
Okay, then I haven't met him.
He plays I think he played linebacker or lineman for Southeast, but I think they put him at tight end because they said he was too small to be a lineman at his height and weight. I think he was like 6'4", 6'5", 250, and I'm like, you call that small? And I mean,
not enough weight
for the lineman. They're just like, yeah, not enough weight.
They're like 300 plus,
right? And they're like, so they made him a tight end, but I'm like, okay, but he's still above average size, especially for a man. So the first lesson that we went over that day was lasso guard. Just saying, when I'm sitting here drilling lasso guard with big old Frank, and John's just like, I can tell that you've done this before. And I was like, yeah, I've dabbled in it in the military. And I don't think, I know he didn't roll with me seriously afterwards, but if he wanted to, Frank could have absolutely just obliterated me. But
right.
I think that's why he started doing privates, because he's not yet comfortable with rolling with people that much smaller than him, just out of fear for
don't want to hurt nobody.
Yeah, don't want to hurt anybody unintentionally, just from just how big he is. It's like if he goes into side casts, he's gonna crush somebody. And so it's like, I guess he's trying to build himself up to where he is comfortable in sparring with that many people, regardless of their size. He knows that he's in control at the whole time. So, but got in, and as soon as John smashed me, I was just like, yeah, this is something I plan on doing for the rest of my life. It's something I can do, not get tired of it. It's a stress relief for me. Whenever I've had a terrible week, I can come in, train. It gives me a problem to solve outside of work, outside of my life, and I can have fun with it as well. And I'm actually learning something. I'm learning how to defend myself and how to potentially defend others. And right now, I mean, I'm the biggest person in my house. My wife is 5 foot, 100 pounds. My daughter, she's 3, and I want to teach her how to defend herself. And as soon as she turns 4, I'm going to enroll her into the kids class, get her started ASAP. And we've got another one on the way. And whenever they get here and when they're old enough, I'll enroll them as well. And if they don't want to, be in the gym, they're still going to learn it from me at some point.
Right.
And then same thing with my wife. Just with like breaking grips and stuff like that. I'm like, hey, if somebody like grabs your hand, grabs your wrist or whatnot, she starts doing it to me. Like she'll grab my thumbs. Whenever I start to like tickle or mess with her, she'll immediately latch onto my thumbs and can just control my entire upper posture with just grabbing my thumbs and just keeping me at bay. I'm like, how dare you?
Well, I'll tell you this, for self-defense for women, first thing you want to teach them, groin shots.
Oh, absolutely.
Groin shots. That's like number one. Groin and eyes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Imagine plucking someone's eye out, just sticking your finger in. I've always wanted to do that.
That's like, have you ever seen Kill Bill? And
I
any of
seen
the
some
Kill
of it.
Bill
Yeah,
movies. I
yeah.
think it was either the first or the second movie where she plucks out the girl's eye, but the girl already had her other eye plucked out by the kung fu master that they were training under.
I guess I didn't catch that part.
And she like legit just
Man.
plucks her eye out. I'm like, oh, that's nasty. And she did it
And
effortless
it'll
too.
be dangling too by the freaking
Oh,
cord or
she
whatever.
snatched it clean out, cord and all. So I
Ooh.
was just like, the first one got plucked out clean, and she snatched the second one out. And so now this chick is completely blinded and whatnot. And she left her like that.
Nice.
Didn't finish her off. She just took her other eye and walked out. But she
That's
crushed it as she walked out the door. I was just like, oh, that's that's nasty. That's mean.
So I noticed you was taking notes the other day at class.
Yes. I should have brought that in with me.
How long have you been doing that?
I'd say about a month now, whenever I remember to bring my notebook. But, I'm one of the people that I need to write something down sometimes in order to actually grasp what I'm hearing. Right. It's like some things you can hear it and pick up on it like that, but certain things, like if it's a financial concept or whatever, it's like, okay, hey, let me jot this down, and I'll shorthand it, make it to where I can understand it. That way it actually sticks.
You're going to retain for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, let's see, I've done it a few times now. One of the lessons that Darren was teaching was I think it was either chess or side control, but it was just weight distribution. It's like, hey, if you don't, you'll feel it if you don't have something, then you're better off transitioning, beating your opponent to the next spot,
right?
Versus trying to muscle and keep them down in a position that you're losing.
Oh, yeah.
It's better for you to go ahead and initiate the next movement and stay that step ahead, because if they catch up, then all that was for naught.
Especially if they're bigger than you.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. For us smaller people, transitions it's our biggest advantage.
Man, when I first started going to John's, oh my God, dude, you gave me a lot. You and Z gave me problems, man. I was just like, what the heck? Especially in the gi. Y'all grab a hold of a grip, and I'll just be like, well, I guess that's theirs now. Because I didn't even know how to break grips when I first started, because I just did no gi for 4 or 5 years, so I didn't know anything in the gi for real. Everyone still is choking the mess out of me with my own gi. And I'm just like, okay, well, glad I don't wear this in MMA.
Right.
Which and honestly, I don't really care to learn any gi chokes, stuff like that, because I'm an MMA fighter. I don't really care too much about that stuff.
Right.
I want to do the stuff that's no gi, and so if I'm there and I'm learning it, cool. But honestly, I could care less about how to choke someone with the gi. It's like.
And I think it's an acquired taste. Like they'll come in and be extremely good at takedowns or extremely good at sweeps, but when you look at their submission of choice, like Keith, he is a monster with guillotines. Like a Kimura and a guillotine, you're not getting your head or your arm out of that when he locks onto it. John, if he gets one hand in your collar, you might as well just start tapping right then, because he's gonna get that other hand in and choke you. And then his game is well versed. He can either go for joint locks or collar chokes and whatnot. And then Darren, if he can just land on you in side cast or side control, he'll just smash you until your rib cage gives out, and you're like, all right, just tap to pressure.
Right.
And so it's just like, and he even says it himself. He's like, he doesn't play a lot of guard, like open guard stuff. He only does that just so he can get back to his feet, and then
man, I like Darren better when he was taking it easy. When he started to get a little bit more serious, I was like, God dang! I'm like, now he's trying.
Oh yeah. The first few times that I've been, I would go at Darren serious. I was like, okay, I can just beat this guy with my speed, and I'd try and grab a hold of his collar and try and swing around to the back, just doing weird stuff, just starting off. He would throw the meanest Haraya Goshi and just completely land straight on top of me in side control and just smash me. And I'd tap from that, get back up, reset. And I'm like, I thought I'm expecting a foot in the hip, him dropping the guard like John does. But no, his thing is judo.
No, he's going to toss you.
His thing is judo.
That's why I love going against Darren. It's really fun, playing, the judo game with Darren. I love judo. That I started doing judo before I started wrestling, so I always go for throws first. I don't really like shooting because and in a real fight or in an MMA fight, you're putting yourself in position to get hit with knees and uppercuts and stuff like that. I'd rather be upright and sweep you off your feet, or or hip toss you or something like that. I don't really like changing levels and going down low like that.
Taking shots like that is it's high risk. It's extremely high risk, especially at a higher level and stuff like that you're at. You're gonna, like you said, catch a knee, catch an elbow, get punched in the face, or they're gonna just literally just stuff you.
Unless
with
your unless your timing is perfect, it's the difference between perfect and not perfect is effortless and very forceful. And when it's forceful, it's hard on like you have to use your head, and so it can be rough on your neck, and it's just too forceful for me. I would much rather hit a duck under and get to your backside and take you down backwards. I don't really like doubles and singles. I'll do them, to make sure I'm good at them, but nah, I'd rather take you down a different way. I love getting duck unders and going to that backside and just taking you backwards. That's like one of my favorite takedowns.
Oh, absolutely. Even this previous tournament, I won it all via points, but all of them, most of them went into overtime, and I won all the overtime just off of takedowns.
Right.
And my wrestling, I've actually gravitated towards wrestling as well as learning how to play guard jiu-jitsu wise. But I'm like, any physical confrontation starts on your feet.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, what is going to put me in the best position to, one, not have to resort to my jiu-jitsu? Because if I'm having to use my jiu-jitsu, things went sideways for me very quick. So I'm like, all right, what is the best way to avoid that outside of, punching someone in the face right off the bat? Hey, learning how to stand up, punch protection, but also learning how to manage the distance, clinch, learn takedowns, judo, stuff like that. So I'm like, the fight starts with takedowns.
Right.
And it usually starts at this kind of a distance. People are having a disagreement, a spat, and they square off. They're about this far apart. It's like, okay, when you close the distance, they latch on.
All right, one step in, one step out.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, hey, the fight's going to go to the ground at some point. What you get to dictate is, do you want to be on top or bottom? And so I'm like, hey, I don't ever want to be on the bottom, regardless of who I'm going against. My game is extremely smashy. Like, I'm a smash pass kind of person. 140 pounds, 5'8". You'd think I'd be trying to berimbolo underneath people and go around. I'm like, no, I want a knee cut, dive through them, put my shoulder in their chin, smash them,
right?
Make them extremely uncomfortable to open them up for follow-on strikes and submissions and stuff like that. But I'm just like, ideally, if they have any kind of martial arts training at all, I'm not going to be able to just smash them. They're going to get their elbow and their knee together. They're going to be able to shrimp away. They're going to be able to push me off. Right. Especially if they lift too.
Right. Oh yeah.
Like I don't know how many times Keith has just bench pressed me straight off of him.
Dude, he'll just put his hand in your armpit and just push you up and just stand straight up.
Literally like doing a what do they call it? Like a Russian get up or whatever.
Yeah,
with the dumbbell, just stand straight up. I'm like, if somebody can do that with me.
That's why, like you were saying earlier, you gotta be ready to transition. Like,
yeah,
he's going for that. You're already moving to a new position. Yeah.
Yes, and that's been a specific training thing that I'm developing. I'm like, all right, specific training plans. That video that you shared to the chat, that Andrew Wilson was going over, training with a specific goal in mind. Like, you don't have to spar at 100% every time that you spar. You're just setting yourself up for injury. So, but if you're like, hey, let's positional spar from side control. I'm going to work escapes. Don't let me escape. Stuff like that.
Positional sparring is super important. Like, super, super important.
Absolutely. It's like, hey, you're good at escaping, side control. You're good at escaping mount. However, you need to work on, what if they take your back? You have to learn how to fight off their grips, their hands. And a lot of people, they'll reach for the feet to try and undo the feet first. But it's like, hey, if they're on your back, the threat is their hands, is the choke. The choke is inevitable and it's coming. You got to fight the hands. The feet, they're already there. They're not going anywhere unless they undo it themselves. And it's, training specific. So I'm like, all right, let's work, we'll spar. And if we have anybody left over, I'm like, hey, let's work side control. Don't let me escape. You can either not let me escape or you can submit me. My job is to simply escape from you. get from underneath you, get to a position, recover a guard, something. And then we can restart, switch, do whatever. And these are really good. Because when we first started, like me, Eli, Z, we would all roll to the death. Every time we'd wait till the end of class, slap hands, bump fists, and we're just, like a tornado. We're just going at it, and it's just like it was probably painful for John and Darren to watch. They're just like, oh, these young athletic guys just going at it. And now, every roll that we had from that point forward was extremely methodical. Everything comes down to positioning, grips. It's like, hey,
I know it's a big transition, and a couple of guys at the gym, they stopped trying. They started to think more and try to figure things out instead of just going.
Yeah, it's like, hey, what good is it running full speed ahead when you don't know where you're going? You're gonna run smack dab into a submission. Like last night, John and Ryan were rolling, and it was right at the end of the round. Ryan shot a Hail Mary double, landed the double. However, as soon as they landed, John loop choked him.
Dude, every time I take John down, I land. It's like, how do I take someone down, land in a submission?
Right. It's like,
I hit him with the, what did I get the other day on him? Uchimata. That's like one of the first times I landed at Uchimata on him. And, I think that's the first time I ever, because I've only landed that like maybe literally once or twice in the dojo. It's a hard throw to land.
Yeah.
And I was surprised I got it, but he scrambled and I think he landed in side control. I'm on my back like, and I was like, Uchimata right in the side control, sweet. and then he got some submission. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, dude. Every time I take John down, he lands in a dominant position. So I'm just like, if I can take him down and land in a good position, that's like a major accomplishment for real.
One of my biggest things is trying to beat his timing. Like, if John can get one of his feet to your hips, he's gonna have an effective guard pull on you. So I'm just like, okay, that's one of my biggest things is getting his feet off of my hips once they're already there. So like, once they're there, I'm done for. So I need to not let him pull guard if that's what he's gonna try and do. And so I'm like, all right, I'm either going to turn my hips to the side. That way they just go right by me and I can go around and just go to straight knee on belly from there. Or there's one I've seen where it's like you literally like scissor kick and jump over and land in basically like side control, something like that. And we did it again last night. We rolled. And he was, I'd say, a split of a second faster. Because we're both like mid-air as we're both initiating. And he was able to like catch my back hip as I'm like already mid-air, and he was able to fully extend and kick me further out.
Yeah.
And so his feet weren't completely on me, but he did just enough to keep me from passing his guard in that moment. I was just like, I just got to keep drilling it. I just got to keep training it. And he was just like, that was close, man. I'm like, yeah, but it wasn't enough. Now, was it?
Good job. That almost worked.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Yeah.
But it's like right when you think that you have him or Darren, there's still a step ahead. Like Darren likes to play a lot of turtle. Like if you circle to his back or if you try to get him in side control, he'll purposely roll away from you. And if you try to attack the back, he's gonna hike up, buck you off. Or if you're able to get one hook in, great. But if you try and get your arms in, be careful how deep you put an arm in because he's gonna latch onto one and he's literally just going to like hip tossing you from his knees.
Yeah.
Literally just going to come up, boom, shuck you off. And now you're underneath this 200-pound, extremely strong man.
Right.
And he's going to lay in side control and just smash you or go to Kess, smash you that way, go to full mount. And I'm like, you're done for. If Darren has ever mounted you, it's just like, okay, here it comes. That's all I say. Here comes the tidal wave.
Right. Yeah. And he'll apply that pressure on you for real. Dig his shoulder into you.
Oh my God.
And yeah, it sucks getting smashed by a bigger guy. It's just like,
absolutely.
It's like, should I try to get out of this or just go ahead and tap and reset?
Right.
Just tap and reset.
I'll take that pleasure away.
I'm about to fake an injury. Ooh, yeah, that's my sore. That's my sore wrist. So, you plan on competing again soon?
Right now, I had planned on going to either the one in Paducah or Bowling Green, but we would just have to see because I haven't been training specifically for anything ever since Springfield, just because I'm in the process of trying to switch careers right now. I'm like, I want to, but I don't get paid to do jiu-jitsu. So
Right, of course.
but yeah, definitely the next time I
I've
plan
been
on
fighting for
competing.
5 years and I haven't got paid yet. 7 years actually, and I ain't got paid a lick yet. So hey, I'm in the same boat as you.
And I once things open up career wise and whatnot, I'll be able to dedicate more time to training specifically for competition. Because I'm just like, oh man, I would love to just go in there and clean out my entire bracket. Because a lot of my no-gi matches, regardless of who's been in it, I'm like, as soon as you lock up with someone, you can tell if they're up on you weight wise or if they're a little under you. And a few of those guys, I'm like, oh, they're definitely a 155, 160 kind of feel. I don't think anyone's been in 160 yet, but definitely 155, and I was 138. So I'm like,
It's supposed to be every 10 pounds.
yeah, and I'm like, I don't make the rules for these, but I'm glad to get matches. So it's like, I signed up for a tournament. I want as many matches as I can get, as long as it's not like, hey,
Yeah, but if they got 20
230
pounds on you, then that's an absolute match. That's not, it's supposed to be like, so if you weigh 135, it's supposed to be 130 to 140, 140
Right.
to 150, 150 to 160. That's how the weights go. So
yeah.
so yeah, that's
And I could be wrong, but it's like, if you've ever lifted weights or tussled with people at all, then when somebody weighs a lot more than what they let on. It's like, okay, well, I mean, did you just go and like drink 5 pounds worth of water?
some people do cut weight, for even jiu-jitsu tournaments. Because you can't weigh in the day before. So a lot of people do cut weight,
Yeah.
A lot of guys, they take jiu-jitsu seriously, like not even getting paid, but they're taking this seriously,
Absolutely.
They're cutting weight, especially if, say, maybe they wrestled in high school, so they're used to, cutting weight or, that's not something that sounds absurd to them. They're like, yeah, sure, I'll cut the weight. And they'll
Right.
cut freaking 10, 15, 20 pounds or something crazy.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot of guys will, but... So your last match was in Springfield. Let's pull up that picture. So you did gi and no gi.
Yes.
And how many matches total did you have?
I had a total of 5 that day. So I had 2 gi matches and 3 no gi. But they were all like extremely close together. So there was very little rest time in between. Not complaining about it, but that just shows that whenever we do train for competition at the gym, it pays off. It's
Yeah,
like, hey,
yeah. To
this
not
is
take rounds off and just go, stuff like
exactly.
that.
It's like, hey,
So
as
you
soon
be
as
the pedago guy. That
Yes.
guy, I guess he's a pedago guy because he's holding his hands like that. So that's what the pedago guys do. And then the guy on the right, you know what gym he was from?
I do not. However, he was what did he get me? I think he had me in a darce. He had me in a guillotine. He switched it to a darce, and he was fighting for that for the majority of the match, for the beginning of the match. But he wouldn't shoot or anything like that. But he would always try and foot sweep me. He got me with a foot sweep the first time, and every attempt for him to take me down after that was just trying to sweep that front leg. And I was like, okay, well, if he's not gonna shoot, I am.
So was this gi or no gi?
This was all. These matches were no gi.
These were no gi?
Yes, and then I told you about the kid that I went against. He was like 17, but he was, I'd say technique wise, he was better than the two of them. It's just that I happened to go against him early on in our bracket.
That's our teammate,
Nikolai. Yeah.
Nikolai. And it looks like he won both divisions too.
He got first place no gi and second place in his gi.
Nikolai's pretty good, man.
Oh, absolutely.
He gives me trouble in there.
He hunts for the arm drag to the back.
Mm.
If he can get you across that center line, then he's either gonna drop down, shoot the double, or he's gonna try and take your back. And if you try and square back up with him, then he'll just duck under.
Yeah, he wrestles for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I'm like,
I like going against him because he's bigger too. So
right.
Yeah,
like
I got to work to get him down.
He's no slouch, but I love going against him, and especially for no gi, because and he's like you're a hard person to get a hold of. I'm like, good, But that just shows that you're really paying attention to what you're doing. You've really been training for a while, because even for him, you know, when he gets a hold, it's like, hey, it's there. Like, as soon as he gets the arm drag, it's immediate. It's instant. So I'm like, he's been training that one for, I'd say, since he wrestled as a kid.
Yeah, he's pretty good, for real. When the first time I rode with him, I'm like, I knew right off the back, I'm like, this guy, man, first of all, he's from Russia. And then I'm like, okay. I'm like, this guy knows how to wrestle. So
you can't come from
we always have good rows. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I got a fight coming up this Saturday. You want to pull that picture up? And so I'm fighting Billy Madison.
Billy Madison. Okay.
Yeah. At least that's what I call him. That's what he looked like. June 18th. Pittsburgh, Kansas. I think this is going to be my first time actually going to Kansas. It's for Fight Hard MMA. It's a really big amateur organization. And then Keith's fighting as well after me. So yeah, it's going to be a fun night. The guy, I think my opponent, he's like 3-1.
3-1.
And
this is MMA, right?
Yeah, he trains at Glory. He's a jiu-jitsu blue belt. So, you know, I'm a white belt in jiu-jitsu, so it would be cool to submit him. You know, that'd be cool. It'd be a nice little notch in my belt. But I don't want to submit him. I want to knock him out. So, you know, that's my style. I knock people out. I don't really like going to the ground. It's like, why go to the ground when I could just knock you on the ground and you not get back up?
I could just put you there without having to go there.
Right,
with you.
exactly. So, but yeah. So what's funny is some chick on Instagram has been running her mouth on my she's been commenting on all my pictures and stuff. It's so funny. It's one of his fans, you know, which is really cool, you know, because that's why we do this. You know, this is you know, fighting it's the entertainment business, and it's drama, you know.
Yeah.
So of course, there's always gonna be birds chirping, you know, and it actually makes it more fun for me when my opponent talks smack, when his people talk smack, because one thing I love to do is prove people wrong. I don't care if we're talking about the color wheel, we're talking about math, we're talking about fighting, whatever. I like proving people wrong. I don't know. Ever since I was a kid, people always called me a know-it-all. I'm like, okay, that's a compliment. The way I see it. If you're right, you're right. So I love proving people wrong and proving myself right. So the more people, you know, talk, the easier it is for me to go on. Like, just the more fun it is. It makes it so much more fun.
It fuels the fire for you.
Look at the stuff she was saying. So she says, all right, so I posted, I said 2 weeks, here comes another highlight. I'm a KO Billy Madison, real smooth. And then she put, wow, your grammar is trash. It's supposed to be, I'm going to get KO'd by Billy Madison. See, what's hilarious is she still calls him Billy Madison. Like, why would she not use his real name? She called him Billy Madison too.
I don't know.
Like, she's correcting my grammar, but she's not correcting the fact that I didn't call him his name. So she said that, and then let's go to some other ones. This was one of when I was swimming the other day. I hit some rounds in the pool, and she said, only one like, obviously trash. Well, guess what? Now I have one like and one comment, so thank you for that.
Right.
Thank you. I thought that was funny. Oh, check this one, dude. This is hilarious, dude. So this is the other day when we was training at Carpe. She says, why add the muscle emoji? You look like a meth addict with how skinny you are. Now, I live in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Plenty of meth heads here. They don't look like that.
Oh, yeah.
They don't look like that. That right there, that look like it's the strongest orangutan on planet Earth. So, but dude, I just think this is just so funny, dude. She's looking at all my different pictures and just, I mean, commented. Look, go comment on my YouTube channel as well. All right, go subscribe and comment on my YouTube videos.
You would think that she's like in love with the guy.
Oh, dude,
she's commenting on all of your.
Like, is this his girlfriend or something? Like,
yeah, I think
or cousin or something or both. I don't know. There's some other ones too. Let's look at the other ones. Dude, this stuff had me so. It gets me so fired up because when I knock him out, and I get that picture of me getting my hand raised, guess who I'm sending it to?
You got to tag her in it too.
Oh, she getting tagged.
you got to DM her in it. Just send it to her DMs. Like.
And the thing is this, like, well, here's the thing. She call me a meth head and stuff like that. It's like, first of all, that's not even funny. I don't, like, the thing is this. There's a way to talk trash, and then there's a way to not talk trash. Like, you don't, there's certain things you say, certain things you don't say, you know? And it's like, you can talk trash and support, you know, your, whoever you're the fan of, which is my opponent, support him, but you don't have to say certain things that's just dumb, you know?
Right.
And
she can act with some kind of class.
like, you can say, I'm going to get knocked out. You can say, I'm going to lose. He's going to say maybe stuff like that. But to call me a meth head, that's just dumb. That doesn't even make sense.
Well, there are videos out there of meth heads knocking people out, so
I guess I'm gonna be one of them. In the same post, she commented on and said I look like a meth head. I posted 3 pictures, and one of them was me in my ice bath. Since when do meth heads do ice baths? I think they're going to shock doing something like that. What's she saying on this? She said, "Oh yeah, so this one, it was me posting my T-shirt that I just had made." And she said, comment what size you want. 0 comments. And then she's laughing. Well, so guys, she's making fun of me because no one commented, so y'all need to buy some. Look, so once I sell some of these T-shirts, guess who I'm going to send pictures of the receipts to, of the sales to? I just think it's hilarious, but she needs to, hey, tell your friends to come and talk trash too, because I need more comments and I need some more clout. So, you know, I just thought it was hilarious, dude. I think it's so funny when people go out of their way, not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times. She commented on like 5 different pictures, and I'm surprised she didn't message me directly.
Right.
You know, it's pretty funny.
That'd be very bold.
She seems well invested in this guy. It's gonna be funny when I knock him out. Like, it's gonna be funny. This guy. So, I've watched his last couple fights. Dude, striking looks sloppy, trashy, and then his jiu-jitsu just looks slow. And I mean, I watched him ride the last guy he fought. I watched him ride his back for dang near 2 rounds and couldn't get a rear naked choke. In MMA, if I get your back, it's over with. Because not only can I choke you, but I can punch you. It's different when it's in jiu-jitsu, all you can do is choke. You know, they can grab your wrist, you can really, but what happens when I start throwing punches? Now you got block punches. Now I can slip the rear naked choke in. You know, but
exactly.
Anyways, I watched him ride his guy's back for 2 rounds, couldn't even get his submission off, you know, and like I said, he's 3-1. He had his first his first MMA fight like 7 months ago. And so in my eyes, he's a rookie. The thing is this. I started doing MMA when I was 17, back before I knew how to fight. I didn't know how to fight. You know, I learned a couple little tricks and just got in there. I still smoked cigarettes back then.
All right.
You know, I smoked probably half a pack to a pack a day if I had the money for it. I smoked blunts. You know, like I was in no shape physically or mentally to even be fighting. You know, I didn't even know how to fight. Won my first fight still, lost my second, won my third, lost my, and then I quit for a while. I realized, okay, if I don't train, this is not smart to do. So I just stopped doing it. And then a year or so later, Keith was still fighting. I'm like, you know what? I think this is actually what I'm meant to do with my life. Because I had like 20 plus jobs by that time. I was only like 19 to 20, like 21 when I came back. And I'm like, you know, this is what I want to do in my life. I've always wanted to be a martial artist that just traveled and fight, you know, in different, you know, countries, different states, stuff like that. I've always loved martial arts ever since I was a little kid. So I decided this is what I'm going to do with my life. And then I quit smoking cigarettes when I was like 19. And then I started running, started working out. And then I started doing Taekwondo around 21. I did Taekwondo for probably like a year and then had another MMA fight. won that when I finished that guy in like the second round. And then after that, I had 2 title fights. One of them I went all 3 rounds, and it was a pretty neck and neck fight. I did a lot more damage to him, but he was already the champ. They gave it to him. And then the second title fight I had, first round I came out, boom, kicked him a couple times really hard. He took me down, and then got my back, started punching, and I couldn't move. I was pretty much stuck, and so they called it TKO, even though he wasn't landing no punches. But you know how it goes. It doesn't matter if you're blocking, if you're not moving, getting out, if you're not escaping, they're going to call it.
Right.
So after I lost those 2 fights, I'm like, okay, with my reach, with my attributes, and my mentality and my heart, there's no way I should even be losing. Losing to me, it doesn't make sense. Like the way I look at myself in the mirror, this man should not lose against another guy in the same weight class.
Right.
It don't make sense to me, because I know who I am as a person and fighting is mostly mental. It's a mental game. It's like chess,
Yeah.
So, and when I see my opponents, I can tell I'm smarter than them. I can tell through conversation, through how they move, even facial expressions, how intelligent a person is. And I knew I was smarter than these guys. I know I was more handsome than these guys, which that might not matter to some people, but I just need to throw that in there. And I knew I'm just built different, I'm like, I shouldn't be losing to these guys. So I knew there was something missing, and obviously it was grappling. So I decided to stop doing MMA until I was prepared to grapple, take down defense, take down offense, submissions, and ground and pound. So I was ready for that. I was going to stop doing MMA and decided to just do kickboxing because as far as on the feet goes, I was winning. It was just when it came to grappling, tying up, I was kind of lost. I didn't know much jiu-jitsu at all. Right. I could submit somebody, which I had submitted people before, but it just, wasn't there. So that was 5 years ago. And since then, I've had 13 kickboxing matches, and my record's 10-3. And the only 3 ones I lost was by decision. And so, and this whole time I've been doing judo, jiu-jitsu, and then I've been wrestling for the last 2 years. So, I'm very prepared to fight anybody in all of the United States in my weight class. And I'm confident I can beat all of them. I'm confident I can beat them on the feet. I'm confident that I can stop the takedown. And I'm confident that I can take them down and submit them. So, this guy, he doesn't understand what he's up against right now. But he's about to find out. I'm going pro next year, and he's just getting started. So if he can even last a couple rounds with me, that's like a big, big deal. I don't see him making out the first round, the first 3 minutes. I really don't see it happening unless he's very patient and doesn't rush. If he rushes and tries to force, he's going to open himself up too wide, and I'm going to crack him and sit him down. But if he takes his time, it's going to be a little more, I'll take my time more calculating. But if he doesn't give me time to calculate, I'm going to have to move even more swiftly and really just let my body and my soul do it, and I won't set things up. I'm just going to split. I'm just going to crack him, and he's not going to see it coming either. I don't punch like him. I don't kick like him. When he punches, he kicks, I can see all of it coming. We could watch his last fight right now. You see all of it coming. He has all tells. Nothing he does is nice and crispy.
It's all like telegraphed.
It's all telegraphed. When I strike, it's very direct. You're not going to see it coming. He don't have combinations. He's still putting together just 2 punches, like one, 2.
Does he like flare his shoulder out when he punches and stuff like that?
All got tells.
Have you ever watched Blood and Bone?
Yes.
So
one of my favorite movies.
In the deleted scenes, Michael White, he was talking to Kimbo Slice and some of the other cast members, teaching them how to throw an actual punch, how to not telegraph a punch. He's like, for those that box, he's like, show me how you warm up boxing and whatnot. And Kimbo was like, he's like, yeah, all of you are like popping like this. They're just like, yeah. And he's like, okay, now I'm way back here. He's like, this is the knockout hand. He's like, put your lead hand out in front. He's like, don't let me touch it. He's like, don't let me hit it. And every single time, the first time he's like, okay, I'm gonna throw this first one, and then I'm gonna throw the next 2 different. Don't let me touch your hand. throws the first punch. He moves his hand out of the way. And he's like, all right, okay, now here come the next two. Nothing. He's like, the speed isn't going to change.
He actually threw it slower.
He literally, he threw it slower and connected directly literally both times. And, he's just like, what the hell?
And the thing is this, it looks so simple to do, but when you're in the heat of the moment and you speed things up, your body is gonna be moving faster than your brain can even process things. So when you have those bad habits,
fast twitch motions.
When you have the bad habits, they're going to arise in the fight. You're not just because you know how to do something doesn't mean once it's time to do it, you're gonna do it the right way. You're gonna do it the wrong way because that's how your body does it. Yeah. It takes time to do things, as close to perfect as it can be done.
And that's the whole point of training, is to get yourself out of bad habits. Break the bad habits, that way you can do it correctly. Because if you don't, your opponent's going to exploit that and they will make you pay. So, and I think this fight is going to be a huge test for the both of you. And I have the most faith and confidence in you. I know you're going to sit him down and
see. This is the thing. He's got to beat me.
Right.
I just have to beat myself. I have to do what I'm good at. He's got to beat me because he's not as good as me. If you want to look at if you were to film 10 hours of him training and 10 hours of me training, doing the same techniques, everything I do is going to look more crispy and more technical than the way he does it. I would guarantee that. I've watched his fights at least. If you look at my last, even though he was doing MMA and I was doing kickboxing, look at my last few competitions. I'm cracking people. My last 3 competitions, I sat everyone down. His striking looks like shit. His best bet is to try to take me down as quickly as possible. But little does he know, he's not going to be able to take me down because I've been doing judo and jiu-jitsu for the last 5 years, and I'm prepared to toss him upside down on his head. He don't have the takedowns that I have. I just know, most guys in jiu-jitsu don't even know how to sweep, how to throw. They probably know the hip toss, single leg, double leg, and then even if they do know the other takedowns, they don't do it all the time. They're not that good at it yet. Like, right. I mean, you've seen me in the dojo. You've seen all the different takedowns I have.
Yeah.
I mean, you see how I can just flow, and as soon as you commit, I toss you.
Your timing is very, very effective. And honestly, it's like you don't put that much effort into it when you're just trying to focus on technique. Like, you've taken me down dozens of times just by beating my timing.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, that really didn't. Like, he could have tossed me there, but he really didn't. He just beat my timing and just threw me.
Right.
I'm like, man, if he put force behind that, it's gonna hurt. And you've actually tossed me a few times. I was like, gosh, I'm glad this isn't a fight. Like,
glad it's not the ground. Glad it's a padded floor.
Yeah, glad this isn't pavement, concrete.
Man,
gravel.
people be forgetting about that. If it was concrete, we would be.
This fight would have ended right then and there.
We'd be toe up. But yeah, so this is like all fights, this fight is a very big deal. And I'm not going out there to beat this guy. I'm going out there to show everybody how good I truly am at striking, grappling, takedowns. Wherever the fight goes, I'm confident. Yeah. I don't have to plan what I want to do. I'm going to go out there and be free, and it hits all by itself. That's one of my favorite Bruce Lee quotes. He says, it hits all by itself, and his hand just rises. Like, he did not just raise his hand. The hand just rolls itself. Like,
it's automatic.
Like, I'm so confident, man. It's like the way I know the sun's going to rise tomorrow, that's how I know my hand's going to get rose after the fight.
Yeah.
It's just, no matter who I'm fighting, he could get injured and not show up and someone else have to step in. I'm going to whoop their ass. Like, it's as simple as that. I'm so confident in myself, and I get my confidence from my ability to perform, my ability to actually do what it is I train to do, not just do all this stuff in the dojo, and then when I get in the cage, look like crap, and things just I just not be able to, you know, put things together. My motor's not firing. Like when I get in there, I'm gonna be on point. Like
Right.
I'm gonna be on point. People are gonna be like, why? Once again, they're gonna be asking, why is this guy not pro yet? You know, I'm going pro next year, so this year is just all about showing that I'm ready for that, showing that I'm at the top level and I can shut people's lights out quickly, and it's not gonna be some long, drawn out fight. He says he's gonna ragdoll me. We're about to find out. We're about to find out. If he ties it with me, I guarantee he's getting tossed. He's getting tossed. I've watched his fights, and you know, but even with that being said, I don't care two shits about his fights. Who he's fought. He's never fought me. And when it comes fight night, when we get in that cage, we're gonna see what's what. Don't matter who says what, who trains the hardest. This I don't care about none of that. I don't care about what's happening today, tomorrow, fight day. It's all about when we get in that cage. Well, who's about to get the ass whooped? That's why I love fighting.
Right.
That's the best job, dude. It's like the best. It's the best job to have. Like I go to work and I whoop someone's ass. Like that's what I've always wanted since I was a little kid. You know,
Time to clock in.
Clock
to go
in.
Beat Billy's ass.
Yeah, on God. So you know, it's gonna be magnificent, man. It's gonna be a show. Of course, I'm gonna be vlogging the whole thing, and you know, he's gonna just be another notch on my belt. You know, another person I ran through. You know, my rise to the top, and you know, I see myself in the UFC here in like, I would say, 2 years. You know, I see myself in the UFC in a year and a half. I'll be 30. You know, so around the time I'm 30, you know, I'll be looking to enter the UFC after I get a few wins as a pro, and I see myself rising to the top very quickly. I've been watching all the guys in my division, you know, the featherweight division in the UFC, and you got the top 10, and then the rest are just trash as far as I see. And then a lot of the guys in the top 10 aren't even that well-rounded. There's only a few, you know, Max Holloway, Alexander Volkanovski, Brian Ortega is starting to be more well-rounded now. His striking is looking better. Korean Zombie, you know, if it ain't the top 10, they can't fuck with me. Even in the UFC, like I put my money on that. I see what they can do, and it's not much. You know, it's really not much. A lot of people, man, they just like that video I just sent. You know, a lot of guys are still stuck in that old way of training. For one, spending too much time, just trying to train hard, not really getting to the fine detail of everything.
Right, breaking everything down.
Like,
it's like, hey,
really?
what happens if the fight goes in this direction? And let's say you make one mistake, you miscalculated one thing. Now you're losing. You're in a bad spot. What's your plan from here? And a lot of guys would answer, don't end up there.
And then filling in the whole okay.
Don't end up there, but it's
no
like,
shit.
Okay, yeah, no one wants to end up bottom side control, but what happens when you end up in bottom side control, or you know, you're mounted, they got your back, you just took one on the chin.
You know the around the world. It's like when you drill the around the world. Imagine if you only could do half of that, and the other half you're like, well, you got holes in your game, bud. Most people got holes in their game. Like
John's a big advocate about training. You know, whatever you're drilling, drill it on your good side. Master one side. If that's how your brain is, you can only do certain techniques on specific sides. Master it on that side before you start to try and do it on your bad side. And I see the benefit of that, but you know, whenever I feel like I'm like, okay, I got this technique down, I can hit it efficiently on one side, I'll do it on my bad side, and I'll alternate during reps, and I'll go slower.
See, when I drill something, I always do both sides. Always.
And that's good.
And then some days I will purposely only drill my bad side. Like I'll be like, all right, this is my good side. I'm not gonna do that today. I'm only gonna do my bad side. And that's how I really get good with my striking, being able to switch stances and throw everything from both stances. You know, and same as jiu-jitsu, like I can tell when I have which side's my good side, which side's my bad side. But when you can, it's just like, imagine if you could be great at one, at least great at one side and then good at the other. Not great at one side and then crappy at the other.
Right.
You know, some people are really good at defending their guard being passed on one side but not the other. So when someone passes your guard that way, you kind of now you're late. Even if you still know how to do it, now it's like you're late, you're behind, you know. So I've always trained both sides because it was crazy to me when I first started striking. I'd be standing orthodox, and then and I felt good, you know, throwing my 1-2, everything feels good. Then I'd switch to southpaw, and I'd be like, huh? Like it feels like you're like, huh? Like you can, even when you're punching right, it feels like you're doing this because it just don't feel right. It's not even about not being able to do it. It's like it should feel right. It should feel normal, natural, you know, on both sides. But not everyone trains like that, you know. You got But when you look at the best of the best in like MMA, they switch to Anderson Silva, John Jones, Israel Adesanya, Mighty Mouse. You know, coincidentally, they're all black, and you know, Mighty Mouse is short, he's small, but like Anderson Silva, John Jones, Israel.
None of those men are men I would ever want to tie up with at all, in any way, shape, or form. Not like Mighty Mouse would wreck any man in my division. Like he wrecks 90% of dudes regardless of their weight. Like he is a savage. They are all some savages.
Mighty Mouse is the best for sure.
Like
Kamaru Usman.
He just recently had a fight with Rod Tang.
Yeah, that was nice.
It was
Muay
like
Thai,
half Muay Thai,
then
half MMA.
Yeah, each round they switched from Muay Thai to MMA.
Yeah, I was like, okay, first round is Muay Thai. I'm like, Rod Tang has a iron chin. I mean, they call him Iron Man. So I'm like, okay, I've seen his highlights. The man will he'll punch himself in the face. Just be like, look, you're not messing with me. Like, give me what you got. And he want to stand
Let's see how long that lasts.
Like, he wants to stand there.
You're trying to be punch drunk, man. You sound saying that's just, look, props to you, bro, but guess what? That's dumb.
It was smart. Like, Mighty Mouse played it smart. He just, stand, pop him when he gets close. Keep distance. As soon as it switched to MMA, I mean, Rod Tang's smart. He's like, he's going to shoot in on me at some point. I'm going to try and knock him out. And it was just, hey, who's faster? Who has the better timing? Who has the better technique? Shot on him, got to his back, took him down, rode his back, and he sunk that RNC in deep. It was in deep, and he put him to sleep. And I was just like, I wasn't expecting to see him go to sleep like that. I thought he was going to try and break one of his arms, but no, he choked him out. And so I'm just like,
nice.
Jiu-jitsu.
Right.
Because, I mean, striking-wise, I'm like, Rod Tang's got that hands down in my opinion. But when you
don't know, man. Mighty Mouse is...
He's got hands. He's got hands and feet. But I'm like, you see the whole package when it's like, what happens when you have an opponent that can strike and they can grapple? They can stand up with you. They can take you down and submit you, pick.
Right.
And, everyone's like, I was going through the comments and whatnot. People on Instagram are like, oh, Rod Tang's going to knock him out. And, I'm like, I mean, Mighty Mouse, he's got a chin too.
And he knows how to move. He's not going to just try to walk you down and just get beat up like Rod Tang will do to you.
Right. So I'm like, and he even popped him a few good times. I'm like, okay, he's not going to want to eat too many of them. And so everything was beautiful just watching the whole thing. I'm just like, oh, this is great. Yeah. That was a wonderful match.
Did you see Yuri Prochazka versus Glover Teixeira?
I don't think I watched that one.
Oh man, they just fought. So Yuri just won the light heavyweight belt in the UFC against Glover Teixeira, and it was back and forth the whole fight until the last 30 seconds. Or it was like 30 or 40 seconds of round 5, and Yuri got was it a guillotine? A guillotine, yeah. Dude, it was crazy.
I love
crazy fight. Like I'm talking both of them about got knocked out. Both of them about got submitted. And then at the very end, Yuri pulled off that rear naked choke. Dude, this dude Glover is 43 years old. And he was not running out of energy. I'm talking gas tank. After each round, he came back looking fresh. I'm like, is this man on EPO? What the it's like
on 43 years old. Didn't happen. All the injuries just disappeared as soon as that bell rings.
It's nuts, man. Like 43 years old and still fighting like that. I couldn't even believe. I literally couldn't believe it when I seen it. I couldn't believe it. Like,
That is amazing.
Against Yuri, who's 29. My chick tries saying, "Oh, that's not that big of a difference."
Yeah,
that's like comparing a freaking 9-year-old to a 20-year-old. There's not that big of a difference. That's a huge difference. We're talking about. Matter of fact, no, Glover is 42. He's about to be 43. So that's 11 years.
That's a huge difference in the world of
No, hold on. 29
sport.
to 42. That's what, 12? Oh shit!
Man, I'm not good.
I
with
just
math.
embarrassed myself.
I ain't good with math.
Yeah,
like that in my head.
Ashley, you know math. What's that? 29 to 43. That's 12 years difference, right? Or 13? 13? 14. God dang.
14 years.
That's a big difference.
Huge difference.
That's like comparing a 1-year-old to a 15-year-old. Dude, that 14 years, that's
contest.
a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, 42 years old, man, looking sharp as ever. It's just crazy. But that's why, and that's also why, like, I've been taking my time. You know, most MMA fighters would never have waited as long as I've waited to go pro.
Yeah.
Like,
a lot of them want to do it as quick as possible.
Because they also need the money,
like,
you know?
Right. It's like, outside of the money, a lot of them, their mentality is like, hey, get in it while you're young.
Right.
Go pro while you're young. That way you can survive that wear and tear.
Right.
And, a lot of fighters don't continue after, like, once they're like 35. Like, if it's like, hey, if they're not top 10 by the time they're 35, a lot of them are like, all right, hey, I'm
wrap
done.
it up.
Yeah, they're like, all right, I've given it my all in these past couple of years, and this is as far as I've gotten. I'm not willing to wait. I'm not going to put my life on hold anymore, because a lot of them have a wife, kids, a family, and whatnot, and they're just like, okay.
I told myself, as long as I go pro by the time I'm 30, I'm good. Give myself as much time to get as crispy as possible. By the time I'm 30, then from 30 to 35, go pro and just wreck shop and get the bag, and then I'll be cool. Like 30 to 35, that's 5 years to climb. Once you get to the UFC, dude, if you're at a championship level, you can be fighting for that belt in a year to 2 years easily. You just got to run through people in the division. Yuri, he just won the light heavyweight belt. He only had 2 fights in the UFC before that fight. 2 fights, and then he got to fight for the belt. So, Israel Adesanya, I think he was in the UFC for like a year, something like that, and then he got to fight for the belt.
Yeah.
Same with Conor. It was quick. So, if you can run through your division, then it's easy to get to the belt. I'm just ready to get this bag, get this money. Start up some businesses. By the time I'm 35, I'm done fighting. Like, I'm gonna fight till I'm 35. Take all that money, and just keep investing it into businesses, and then I'll be cool, man. I'm trying to kick my feet up when I'm 35. You know what I mean?
There you go. I actually had a meeting and whatnot. We were talking about investing and stuff like that, and they asked me, it's like, what's your goal? Like, do you want to retire like when you're mid 50s, late 50s? Like, do you want to retire early? Do you want to retire late? And I'm like, look, I'm a family man. I see myself working as long as I can until I drop, because I want to be able to help set my kids up, set my grandkids up, build a legacy for my family, leave them something when I'm gone. And it's just like, I don't mind just working and whatnot, but at the same time, if there is something else that interests me, like, jiu-jitsu's still fresh and new, and it's still blowing up, becoming popular. So if it was just like, hey, there's a local tournament with $1,000 cash prize, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna throw my hat in that ring. I'm like, hey, I train because I like to, but at the same time, it's like at some point you want to showcase your skills. So It's just like, yeah, especially for anything that's close, like St. Charles, Paducah, Bowling Green, definitely want to do stuff like that every once in a while, just for the fun of it.
Right.
And it's like, hey, you get to grapple, have fun.
How old are you?
Just turned 26 this past May.
You got plenty of time to do whatever you want in life, man. Once you get my age, you're gonna realize a few things in life, and one of them is time is short, and
oh, absolutely.
Once you get about 55, my age,
I mean, we actually got baby number 2 on the way. We got about 5 more months till they're here, and like you said, life is short. So, if you've got that idea, that business that you want to start, and you don't know how to do it, hey, that's fine. Go for it. Talk to a few people. there are plenty of people out there that'll be like, hey, this is what we did, or this is what a friend of mine knows. I'll get you in contact with them and they can give you some pointers. Like, don't hold out on your dreams due to fear.
Right.
And that's 90% of everybody's problem in life is the fear of the unknown, fear of failure.
Yeah.
What if this, what if that? When you ask people, especially that do jujitsu, it's like, do you compete? Do you? And they're like, oh, well, I want to. It's like, well, what's stopping you? Well, I just don't think I'm good enough yet. So how do you think you're gonna get good?
Right.
Like, if you don't go in there and see what you can do, see what you need to work on in an actual scenario when your adrenaline is up.
They're too scared to lose, and they're embarrassed of losing. Look, that's why I make a great fighter, because I don't care if I lose. Just like this fight Saturday. You think I care if I get knocked out? I don't give two shits. Like, and with me not caring about that, the outcome, I'm going to let myself be free. You know what I'm saying? But if I'm worried about how it's going to actually end, then I'm just going to be all pussyfooting around instead of, cracking dudes. So
right, get in there, get after it, go take care of business.
You can't be scared of failure. That's just part of life. That's not, it's like, that's like not, they got the hurdles in track. That's like, well, I can't run this track because there's hurdles. Like, they're supposed to be there. Right. You jump over them. Like, they're supposed to be there.
You jump over them.
But if you bust your shit, you better just keep on running and get back up.
Oh, absolutely. I love watching those videos. Watch them.
People try to jump a hurdle, they clip it and just fall.
Literally watch the girl. She tried to clear it, caught her back foot, like face planted. And everyone's just like, ooh, ouch. She got up, screamed, and continued on, hopping and knocking over every other hurdle, but she finished.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure she competed again at some point after that, and she clean shot. I'm like, hey, you fall down 10 times, get up 11.
Yeah, I can't remember what basketball player I was listening to. I think it was it might have been Michael Jordan, but he was talking about, like, people seeing all the shots he makes, but he's like, they don't see all the shots I miss training.
Yeah.
Like, we train all the time. You tap me out, I tap you out. Like, it's like we're constantly losing.
Yeah. No, but nobody sees that. They see the highlights.
Shit, they see it on mine because I've been recording on my YouTube channel. And my last video training, I'm just getting ragdolled by Preston. I'm like, well, this makes for a great video. Just getting ragdolled.
And and a lot of people don't want to see that. Or not see that, but they don't want to go through that.
Yeah.
They just want the success. They just want the easier path, when it's like, hey, you have to forge your own way. Like, if you ever been in the jungle or the woods or something like that, and you've had to clear out brush and get scratched up, fell down a cliff into a little wadi or something, because you're making your own path. And it's like, okay, hey, I see, that was a rough path. There's an easier path I can take. I'll do this next time. But you won't know any of that if you never try.
Right.
You'll just be you'll just be stuck where you're at.
Yep, 100%. So one of my favorite martial artists when I was a kid was Jackie Chan.
Yep.
And one of the reasons I love him is because when he fought, it's like it was almost sometimes it was serious, but it was mostly just playful. Jackie Chan talked about how he wanted to be more of a comedian. He wanted to be funny, and that's my personality. Like, I look at my life as a freaking comedy show, That's why people laugh at me. Like, that's what I want. That, like, if I can make a person laugh, I don't care if you're laughing at me or laughing with me. If you're laughing, I'm your therapist. Like, I'm giving you therapy. Like, laughter is one of the most therapeutic things a person can do, know. So I just look at my life as like a freaking, a comedy show. It's all just funny to me. I learned to laugh at myself and you can't take life too seriously. Oh my God. If you take life too seriously, dude, you're just gonna be bitter because
you're gonna burn yourself out.
Because it's like playing a game, playing Monopoly. If every time you roll a bad number and you get upset, you're gonna be upset a lot playing that game. Because life is a gamble. Life, you don't know what's gonna happen. There's so many things, like, you control like probably 0.01% of what actually happens in your life. There's so many outside influences on what happens in your life that you have no control over. So you know, you have to learn to accept those things and just try to have fun, you know, and do whatever makes you happy, which is why I chose martial arts, you know, even though it was hard and it was one of the most scariest things ever, like going and fighting in front of hundreds or thousands of people, knowing you could get knocked out, knowing, you know, you can get injured. Like, it can be very, very scary and cause a lot of anxiety. You know, you got people sitting in the back like they literally just want to sneak out the back door. By the time they start walking to the cage, their heart's not even in it anymore because it's so scary, so nerve-wracking.
Right. They're just like, what did I get myself into? I'm not feeling it like I was when I first was like, oh, I got my first fight coming
just
up.
not feeling this today.
Yeah.
Can we do this tomorrow? Like,
they're like, you know, it's like, hey, you're locked in, your fight's set for this day, and they're all pumped up, excited, and then day of, as soon as they call their name to the cage, as soon as they get up there, they're.
Or a lot of times, like when I first started fighting, dude, it would be the whole week. It'd be 2 weeks out. I'd be so nervous. Like, I'm like, why am I so nervous? It ain't even time to fight yet. A lot of it was because I didn't feel like I was prepared. I didn't feel ready. Once I started to feel like I'm ready, I know how to do this. I can fight. And the nerves started to subside a little bit. And even to this day, if I get nervous, I don't care. Like, that's not gonna make me feel like this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I'm just like, oh, okay. Nice.
Even professionals, regardless of what their career is, even professionals at the top of their game have off days.
Too.
And they have off days more than what people
Except for me.
know.
I never have an off day. Never again.
It's like, there'll be, let's take, plumbing, electricians. There'll be that one day where they're just like, look, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, I feel like I haven't studied or trained to do any of this. And they're just, they're in their head.
Also, you have your days where you just don't want to do anything. You know, the days you wake up and just like, someone could be like, you get a trip to Six Flags today for free. Everything's free. And you'd be like, I don't want to fucking go anywhere today. I just want to lay on the couch and watch TV or something. Like, what if that's fight day? You wake up and you don't feel like doing anything.
Right.
You better have some good mental training exercises. Like, you better be like me. I can get myself ready. It don't matter what time of the day it is, how I feel. I can get myself ready like that. Give me 5 minutes.
And
give me a minute. Matter of fact,
discipline.
I don't even give me a second. My last tournament that I did in St. Louis, I didn't even get to warm up at all. Now, granted, I used to do a short warm up. I don't have to look. 5 minutes is all I need to warm up. That's it. Some people warm up for like 30 minutes. Like, they be doing a lot. Me, shake it out a little bit. Sometimes I just turn on some music and dance a little bit, throw a couple punches, kicks. I'm ready. My coach be like, oh, stress, do this. No, I be like, I'm cool. Like, no, I feel very ready right now. I feel too ready right now. Like, I'm good to go. Right. I don't need to stretch no more. I'm good to go. It don't take much for me. Like, my body warms itself up. It's weird. Like I can feel my blood warming up. I feel my body, my muscles warming up, and I don't have to do much at all. Like, if I know I'm about to fight, my body's gonna get warm. I can throw a head kick. It ain't gonna hurt my hip or nothing like that. Like, my body just gets warmed up. So my last tournament, I'm wrapping my hands up, and then they called my name. Or matter of fact, no, I didn't even have my hands wrapped. No, I had my cousin putting some Thai rub on my back. You know, the Thai oil that the Muay Thai fighters use. He was putting some on my back. They called my name. He's like, here we go. I'm like, what? He's like, they just called your name. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't have my hands wrapped. I didn't get to stretch, warm up, nothing at all. I had to wrap. They literally was like, Willie Henderson, you got 30 seconds to get on this mat or we're moving on. And I heard him wrap my hands up and slide my gloves on, put my helmet on. And I had to tell my cousin, I'm like, dude, get the camera ready. And he just knew it working this camera too. So I had to make sure I get this too. And
yeah,
I didn't get to warm up at all, period. Jump right on the mat, right to it. Like, but I wasn't on that mat like, oh shit, I didn't get to warm up. I'm just like, I'm ready. I do this all the time. Like, I'm ready.
Right.
I'm going to get warmed up when I start throwing these punches. Like, it's whatever.
It's like I had more anxiety about getting the camera ready and trying to get my stuff on.
I swear to God.
Versus getting in here to beat you up.
Dude, I get more anxiety. like I'll be warming up thinking, oh my God, I hope my cousin's got the fucking microphone on. I hope that, you know what I'm saying? Because I want to get this recorded. I'm more freaking worried about recording the thing than I am actually doing it. Because I know when it's time to do business, I'm about that. Like that's nothing. Like Like I reached to a point in my career as a martial artist where nothing's gonna shake me. Like if you hit me with a haymaker and knock my head back, when it comes back forward, I'm gonna be like, okay. Get that up, like it's like
that's like
I'm just
what's the thing called, the weeble wobble?
Right,
knock that thing down and it comes back up.
Comes right back up.
Yeah,
and usually when I come back too, I'm coming with something, and they don't be prepared for it either. But yeah, man, it's just it's crazy. Every time I fight, I love it even more, and I get more excited. Like you think it's not going to get it just gets more exciting, and it's just more fun every single time. Because I know not only was I already a beast the last time I fought, but even since the last time I've gotten so much better. Like my last full contact fight was November, so it's been like six to 8 months or something. So it's, dude, how much better I've gotten in the last 6 months is ridiculous. My striking is ridiculous. Like I've been doing like 2 to 3. I've been doing like 3 private lessons every week. Like, and you know how good you get when you do private lessons. So, dude, my striking is just getting crispier and crispier and crispier. And then as well as the jiu-jitsu and judo too. I was working on judo quite a bit because I thought I was doing that one tournament, and then I hurt my foot and couldn't even freaking do that, which that really pissed me off. And then y'all went there. I seen you won gold and Nikolai won gold. I was like, ugh, because I signed up for that one, but I had injured my foot.
Yeah,
I rolled my freaking toe, and it was just jacked for weeks.
It would have been you and
oh man,
you and Nikolai in the same division, aren't you?
Heck no.
Okay.
What?
No,
that dude's about like 170 or 180 pounds, dude. That dude's big.
Well, you both weigh so much more than me. It gets hard to tell. Like once somebody's over 30 pounds heavier than me, it starts getting muddled.
Dude,
I'm like, okay.
I walk around at 155. That dude's a lot bigger than me.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so I think he was in like the 170, 185 division.
See what I'm saying? Yeah, that's a big boy right there.
Oh yeah, you would have definitely claimed the 155 division easily.
But I wouldn't have fought in 155. I would have fought 140 to 150.
So okay, so they might have threw you in there with us then.
Oh, probably.
They probably would have threw you in there with us.
Oh shit.
Because the lightest person by far, other than me, was that 17-year-old kid, and I was like, I think he was like right at my weight, like 135 to 138, and I was like. I stood up with him effortless, but I just couldn't shuck him off my hips. I'm like, he had me literally figure forward around the back, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be able to shuck him off, but he had to open his guard in order for me to get out of it, and I was just like, hey, it takes a humble man to admit something like that, a child could keep him inside his guard, basically. But I was just like, afterwards, I was just like, yo, dude. You're gonna be an absolute monster.
How old was he? Like
I'd say he's about 17, because for those tournaments, they'll put you in the adult division from like I think 16 and up, 17 and up.
Cool.
So he was right there. I was just like, he did not look old enough to drink.
Right.
So I'm like, this is a teen, but he did a good job. He did a really good job.
Yeah. I fight at 145. I've been walking around at like 155s, something like that. I'm probably gonna have to cut a few. Well, not probably. I'm gonna have to cut a few pounds of water weight for this fight. Sweat out probably like 5 to 7 pounds. Probably like 7 pounds of water weight. It's been hard for me to get down to. Dude, it's so weird. I was walking around like 152, and all of a sudden, I'm walking around at 157. 159. I'm like, where is this weight coming from? Like, I don't know where the weight's coming from.
You breathe and put on 2 pounds.
Like, I guess I've gained probably 2 pounds of muscle mass. It can't be fat. You know what I'm saying? It can't be food in my stomach. It's not like I don't even eat meat, so everything just goes right through me. So I must have put on just a couple pounds of muscle.
Yeah.
Getting swole. God damn. Oh. The dude starts rubbing his arms and stuff. Like,
hold up there.
But yeah, so what's new with you, man?
Well, Not too much after that tournament. I was like, I was immediately wanting to try and gun for another one, and then of course, looking at gas prices and whatnot nowadays, like, even going up to St. Louis is like, if you have anything less than a full tank, you're gonna be spending some kind of amount of money.
Oh, it is, dude.
And it's like, man, okay, so we just got to be more financially sound,
Right.
just due to where the economy's at right now. And I'm like,
So
okay.
so you were talking. You were in a business meeting. What were y'all really talking about?
Financial planning for the future and stuff like that, like setting up for retirement. And
Oh, okay.
and Z, he's down in Houston right now, and that's the I'm not sure exactly what he got his degree in, but I would assume it's something relatively like mine, somewhere around business administration. And he's just like, yeah, I've just got a few ideas and stuff like that I just want to talk to you about if you're cool. I'm like, yeah, sure. We'll hop on a Zoom meeting. He brought his friend on, and we sat there and talked about it. It's like, yeah, this is what our current goal is as far as like me and my wife saving and investing and stuff like that. Since I work security out at P&G, I was like, their people have the option to invest in like company stock and stuff like that, as well as the benefits package, the retirement plan for pension. I was like, yeah, that sounds like a good
P&G
deal.
stocks are good stocks.
I was like, that's a really, really good deal. So I'm like, I've applied twice now, and I'm just like, I want to throw my hat in that ring, see if I can, get on board and start building that generational wealth.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I want to set my kids up for the future, because any good parent is like, if there's going to be hard times and struggle, I would rather it be in my time. That way, by the time you guys are old enough to take care of yourselves, things will be either going back to a reasonable state, or they will already be reasonable enough for you guys to live a decent life on top of what you've already built for them.
Right. Yeah. My kids are never gonna have to fight as hard as I fought in life. I'll tell you that right now. They already got it, dude. My kids, like, I grew up poor, but right now I consider myself like around middle class. My kids have, okay, for starters, my kids both have their own bedroom. I never had that.
Right.
I didn't have that until I was like 15, and that shit was in a basement. Not a basement like this. Like, it was not a finished basement. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Yeah, my kids already, are living a better life than I lived, but I definitely plan on setting up financial, wealth for my kids and their kids and all the kids after that. I started Powerful Fitness like 2 years ago, and so I wanted to be a personal trainer, so I started my own business doing that, and I quickly realized there's not a lot of money in that unless you do like courses, online courses, stuff like that. Then you can really get into moving like units, even though it's not product, not like units like product, but let's say the unit would be like, the course. So
yeah,
unless I was gonna do something like that, and I just quickly realized like I just didn't really want to do that. So I decided to move more towards selling products. So that's why I'm, creating T-shirts, and so that's what I'm in right now, is creating T-shirts and other type of clothes. Like this was actually the first T-shirt that I made, but this is more for like fans though. I'm making some that are going to be for like something that anybody would want to wear, which I already have an order placed for my samples for my first workout set. It's going to be a tank top with some shorts, and I'm waiting for that. That'll come in, anytime, whenever they get done with this. It's a company out of Pakistan, so it's gonna, it takes time to get here. But yeah, I realized selling product is an easier route than services, and you can move. It's easier to to sell stuff. You can sell stuff to anybody. I could have clothes and someone to buy it in freaking Florida, California, something like that, or even worldwide, not just in the United States. But services is different. Like a lot of service, I can't have a car service or online. You can't work. You got to be right there in person. And the same as there are a lot of successful personal trainers online, especially during the pandemic. because no one can leave their house. So that would have been a good time for me to sell courses. And I might get into that one day when I'm like famous, you know, from fighting, because then I know a lot of people are going to buy, you know. But I didn't want to spend a lot of time making a course and then not a lot of people buy it. So right now I'm into making clothes, and then of course this YouTube channel, and then fighting. Those are like the three things I'm spending my time doing. You know, my vlogs, this podcast, and then creating clothes, and then fighting. But not in that order, actually backwards. Fighting comes first. You know, the YouTube is something I'm trying to be consistent with this. You know, but it's really hard to be consistent with things when you have a career. You know, it's not easy. So fighting is number one above all, above everything that I do. Yeah. And then second is my YouTube channel, and third is the clothing brand. So, you know, and I feel like fighting is what's really going to pave the way for everything else that I do. Because once I'm on TV and I'm a well-known fighter and I have the influence, then people will buy shit from me just because it's from me, you know.
Right, because they know who you are. They know you're good at what you do.
Right, exactly.
Because it's like, when was the last time you seen anybody be like, oh, yeah, this guy's 0-0, buy his merch?
Right.
And, you know,
I just got knocked out, man. Please buy a shirt.
Please buy my product.
Please.
But, yeah, no, once you make it to that kind of a platform to where it's like literally you're on magazine covers, you're on, you know, people's wall, you become a household name.
Right.
And, you know, your name alone could sell. And, you know, that's a really good point to be at in a career. And, you know,
get brand deals.
You won't even have to really do anything outside of fighting, because other people will come to you and be like, hey, you know, I can manage all this other stuff for you, and all you would have to focus on is fighting. And then when there's a critical decision that needs to be made regarding these affairs, we'll come to you and let you make that final decision, and we'll have, you know, we'll add in our 2 cents, have an advisor or something like that.
Right.
And, you know, in a perfect world, that's the best way to go about it. But, you know, like, especially like in the hip hop industry, a lot of artists are being, you know, they're going independent.
I want my own stuff. Like, would I sign a deal with someone else? Sure. But I want my own stuff. Like, that's why I created Powerful Fitness. Like, I want my own clothing line through Powerful Fitness, and, you know, my YouTube channel. You know, maybe one day I won't even be on YouTube. Maybe I'll have my own, like, all my videos be on my own website, or like my own, what do they call it, server or whatever, my own platform. You know,
yeah.
Especially if I don't want my stuff to be censored, you know.
Yeah, that's a huge thing for content creators.
Yeah,
is just censorship, and, you know, having to beat around the bush, kind of, you know, be mindful of what you're saying versus, let's say if it's like a radio podcast where they're just full send on whatever it is you want to say.
Full send, baby.
Yeah, full send on whatever they want to say, and they're just like, hey, if, you know, it's like I can't remember what movie it is, but he's just like, you know, hey, if you don't chew Big Red, then
he said, my name's Ricky Bobby. If you don't chew Big Red, then fuck you.
Yeah. It's like, you know, that's the energy that they have with their stuff. And I mean,
you watch the Full Send people? The Nelk Boys?
I don't think so.
Oh, wow. It's funny you said Full Send. So the Nelk Boys, they're YouTubers, and they have their Nelk Boys podcast, also called the Full Send podcast, and their brand is Full Send.
Full Send, really?
Yeah, and they just be getting drunk, doing pranks, and they don't make money from their YouTube videos, even though their videos are getting hundreds of thousands and millions of views. They make money from their merchandise. Yeah. And from their, they have a seltzer. What's it called? It's like a beer or whatever. The seltzer. What do they call that thing? I guess they call it seltzer. It's like a beer kind of, but it's called Happy Dad.
Happy Dad.
Yeah, it's called Happy Dad, and they make a lot of money off that, you know. So, and you should look them up. They're funny, dude. They're super funny.
Yeah, Full Send. That's something I learned from just being in the military.
They're so funny, man.
You know, we'd have a question about, you know, hey, what are the odds that we're gonna get in trouble for doing this or whatnot? And, you know, it's like, man, we're gonna go Full Send. Send it anyways.
Wow.
And it's just like, hey, send it. And it's like, hey.
That's what they say in all their videos. Yeah.
After action.
Full Send.
After action reports. You know, it's just like, okay, so whose idea was it to just, go completely ballistic out there? Whose idea was it to get on top of that berm and just start like swinging their thing around in the air to signal? Don't we have smoke screens? And, we have things for that. And it was just like, well, it didn't work. And instead of coming over the radio and, letting everyone know, hey, the stuff that you gave us is defective, we thought we'd help you save face and, improvise, adapt, and overcome.
Yeah.
And of course, you get in trouble for that. But
right.
But yeah.
Oh yeah, and then also even like gaming, like Sean O'Malley, Sean O'Malley, right?
Yeah.
So like he makes more money streaming Call of Duty on Twitch than he does in the UFC as of right now. So I'm saying, so it's
That's
like
crazy.
like once you get on a certain platform and once you become an influencer, it's like you can make so much money.
People are gonna pay
Like,
attention
think about
to you
this,
regardless
okay?
of where you go.
Imagine this. Imagine you have, I got to pull out my calculator because I'm not that good at math. So imagine you have an OnlyFans, and not an OnlyFans where you getting butt naked and doing stuff. All right, I'm talking about like just content of like training, or it could be Patreon, or even like a YouTube. On YouTube, like you can pay to join the membership or whatever and get more videos and stuff like that. So imagine you charge $10 a month. All right,
Yeah.
and let's say you got like, say you got millions of subscribers, but only 100,000 people join your thing. All right, so boom, that's $1 million a month right there. So say 100,000 people pay $10 a month to watch extra content that you upload on Patreon. That's $1 million a month. That's what you call moving units. Even if it's 1,000 people paying $10 a month to watch so like Sean O'Malley, they have a Patreon account. It's $10 a month, and I was paying that for the longest just to see his extra content, see what what stuff they're doing that they're not posting on YouTube. And I'm like, dude, if only 1,000 people are paying $10 a month, that's $10,000 a month right there.
Yeah. Like
do you make? Hey, look, sir. Do you make that a month, sir?
Absolutely.
Absolutely not. Neither do I.
I wish I did.
Like, geez, we probably making like half that. Like, imagine if it's 20,000 or 20,000 people. Like, it's just a numbers game, dude. So that's why when I see these people on YouTube, on Instagram, TikTok, and they got millions of subscribers, millions of followers, I'm like, oh. They got to be getting,
but now some of that is gaslighted. Like there's this thing that you can
true.
Pay
You can
for
have
likes.
You can have a lot of people, a lot of fans, but not a lot of supporters. Supporters are gonna buy your T-shirt. They're gonna pay for extra content. They're gonna, when you go live, they just drop $10, $5 for nothing. Like I watch people go live sometimes, and in an hour they make $500 just like that. Just from people just drop $10, $50, $100, just to be watching. So. Like, we really reached a new era of making money on the internet. Like,
oh, absolutely. And I've seen a lot of, especially through, like, right when the pandemic first blew up, and so did OnlyFans.
Yeah. Go figure.
But, it was just like, I wonder if the world went into a blackout, like if a massive EMP hit the world and we couldn't use technology for, I don't know, a month or a year, however long, it's just like, how many people would be out of a job just because everything that they have financially is based on social media and like
a lot.
It was just like, oh man, a lot of people would be out of a job. Like,
right. True.
Like, take away OnlyFans, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Snapchat. 90% of the apps that people, stream on or do whatever is like, a lot of people they'd be out of a job.
Man, but them same people that got hundreds of thousands of followers, them followers were probably, man, they could send out a freaking a letter to people's houses and be like, since our internet's not working, please send help. Like, the people be coming and people be sending the money like
SOS. Here's
the
my
thing
address.
is, when you have influence, bro, when you have influence, you got pull, and when you got pull, you got power. When you got power, you said. Like,
yeah, this is true.
But that's why it's good to have true skills, not just record yourself doing dumb stuff and literally that's all you can do. But even
Right.
still, like, say you're a comedian or something, and you sell your stuff online, your specials. Everyone watches your specials online. People are still gonna flock and pay to watch you live, stuff like that. So, I mean, there's always a way to make money, but yeah, basically, I'm just saying right now, it's like the easiest time to make money because of how easy it is to have access to people and the things they have, whether it be merchandise or it be, content, videos, services, whatever. It's so easy, nowadays to make money, but a lot of people just get caught up trying to make money and not following what they actually like to do. Like, I wouldn't be fighting if I didn't truly love this. This is like the hardest sport there is.
Right. It's like, why would I put myself in a position to get punched in the face or kicked or choked or
If I
anything
didn't
like
truly
that
love it.
if I didn't like doing this? Regardless of how much money is in it. And it's like, there's still a huge health risk. And
I feel like to a certain extent, you have to also like being punched. You know what I'm saying? Like say we're grappling and you toss me, boom, I hit the ground. I'm going to smile. And there's a part of me that's like, damn it. But there's also a part of me that's like, that was fucking nice.
Right.
Like, that was nice, because that's how you, when you truly love the arts, even when it's being done to you, you appreciate it and you like it,
Yeah.
So it's like, it took me a while to actually be okay with getting punched in the face, being okay with getting taken down and submitted. And now it's just like, I like it. It's cool. If I get beat, more power to you. You just help me out because now I'm going to focus even more on my hoes, So it's like, for me, there is no winning and losing. And because of my personality and my heart and dedication, people are going to love to watch me fight regardless, no matter what. Win, lose, or draw, they're going to want to watch me fight,
Oh, absolutely.
Like Jorge Masvidal, he just got knocked out by Kamaru Usman. But guess what? If he gets another fight coming up, we're going to want to watch it, right? Because he's a great fighter. It's not just about winning and losing. It's about putting on a show, being entertaining, and not just going out there and just, like, you could be the best wrestler in the world, but no one wants to watch you just hold on to this guy and not even land a punch.
Right.
People like Khabib because when he mauls you,
he's throwing them around.
He's hurting you,
He's throwing them around. He's smashing their face in.
For real, like
he is legitimately mauling them like a bear. And even when they get back to their feet, if they get back to their feet, especially the McGregor fight, that right overhand he landed, I didn't see that one coming. I did not expect that one to happen.
He dropped him, man. He sat him down for real.
I was like,
he stopped himself and kind of started to stand back up, but he got dropped.
He scooted all the way back to the cage. I was like, oh my goodness. I thought that ended the fight right there. I was like, I was rooting for him to, submit him, but I was like, if he knocks Conor out.
I was rooting for Conor to knock him out.
I was like, if Conor knocks him out, I could see that happening. But, everyone knows Khabib's style is, his sambo, his wrestling. He is at the top of the chain when it comes to world-class grappling.
Man, he a different chain.
Hands down. Right.
His link is not attached to they chain. That's a whole different dude. It's a whole different beast right there for real.
But I'm like, throughout his career, I've seen him take some very heavy shots. And I'm like, it stumbled him. And I'm like, oh, he got hurt on that one. But he recovered he recovered quickly and just goes right back to doing his.
Well, because when they crack him, they try to close the distance and finish, and then he just grabs a hold of you and takes you down.
Right.
You're done for.
So I'm like, not only is he that, savage of a grappler, but he's extreme. He's very intelligent.
Oh yeah.
Like all of the micro movements and like watching him break down how he takes people down, leverage, pressure. Hey, timing. I know for a fact that as soon as I do this, his foot is going to end up right over here. Dig that heel in, sweep it from underneath them. Right. Boom. You pull him off the cage.
It's like he knows all the sequences that there are.
Right.
Ain't nothing new to him. You can't show him something to him and he'd be like fascinated. Like he knows all the sequences, all the positions, all the transitions.
Like watching him beat I can't remember his name, but high level black belt in jiu-jitsu, high level black belt. And he got him down on the ground and just mauled him the whole time. Like It was like,
It's
dude,
ridiculous. Yeah.
it was like just
It's sad to see him go so soon. There was still, like, man, there was still a couple guys we wanted to see him beat. Charles Oliveira for one,
Yes.
But now we got Islam Makhachev, but he's not Khabib,
Right. He has his own style, and like his entire team, like that whole group of men, they all wrestle, but they all have their own very unique styles and their own sequences that they like to do.
Right.
Like even watching them spar, like Khabib will maul half the all the people on his team, but it's like, hey, that's with them. They get in the cage with other people, they maul everybody else.
Right.
And Islam's got hands. Like his striking is better than Khabib's. So I'm like, he can keep his opponents at bay and pick them off, set them up, take them down and whatnot. And so I was just like, they each have a very unique, their unique attributes. Like if you look at it like bar graph wise, it's like, hey, striking up here for one, grappling down here. For the other, grappling up here, striking right here, and so forth and whatnot. And it's like they all train together 24/7.
Do you watch the Lex Friedman podcast?
I do not.
So he had, I know John Danaher.
Yeah.
He was on his podcast with Gordon Ryan and George St. Pierre.
Mm-hmm.
And John Danaher was saying that like 99% of the fans that watch MMA don't truly understand what's happening in the grappling aspect. Possibly, and then I don't know if he mentioned the striking, but he's definitely was talking about the grappling. But what people do understand is emotion. So that's why it's kind of a necessity to make a fight seem more personal, because everyone understands that. You know what I mean? They don't just understand like, oh, I'm going to, they don't understand grappling. They don't understand, like all the details in striking. So if you can make it more personal, then it's always going to be more entertaining and draw more people.
Yeah.
So that's why I choose to do that, not just because it's fun, but because that makes it more fun for everybody else. If you don't talk smack leading up to a fight, then it ain't even, it's just not as fun, It's not as entertaining. When two people are talking smack and then they fight, it's always more entertaining.
Oh yeah, that's definitely entertaining. Especially like growing up watching like WWE and stuff like that. Listening to like Ric Flair or any of the greats go at it. Literally, they both got a mic and they're just sitting there just ragging on each other. Just like, when I get a hold of you. I'm going to bend you and twist you and all this. And it's just like, oh, man.
The cream of the crop. Woo! Yeah, I used to love wrestling when I was a little kid. And then someone told me it was fake and pointed out that he wasn't actually punching him. I stopped watching it.
Oh, I mean, yeah. The trash talk is always, regardless of it being fake and whatnot, it's still entertaining to me to watch because it's just like, it's still good entertainment. And then even in the UFC, like I can't even remember the guy's name, and it pains me to this day. But the press conference where you've got McGregor in the front, you've got a lot of people up there, and the guy in the back says something. He's like, right here. And he turns around. He's like, who the fuck is that guy?
Jeremy Stevenson. I know exactly who it was.
He like turns and he's just like,
who the fuck is that guy?
Yeah. It's just like, oh man.
Who the fuck is that?
Like, who is he? Nobody even knows who
Dude,
you are.
That is the iconic sentence right there. Who the fuck is that guy? The pain in that
man's soul after that. Like,
Jeremy Stevenson. Yeah. A little bitty short guy. Yeah.
Like, oh man, it just completely shuts him down.
Yo, what we at for time? 2 hours and 8 minutes. All right. Then we're going to wrap it up. All right, bro. It's great having you on, man. This was fun.
Hey, appreciate you.
I appreciated it. All right, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe, share this with your friends. You can look up Zom on Facebook, Instagram. Follow him. Watch him beat some guys up at whatever next tournament you choose to go to, and see him piece me up in our training videos and stuff that I post. And thanks for watching, and peace out. That was fun.